Hello, I'm Professor Rad, and today we're going to talk about order relations with integers. So let's start out with a definition. One number is greater than another if it is further to the right on a number line than the other number. Similarly, one number is less than another if it is further to the left than the other number. Now, we've talked about greater than and less than before, but just as a reminder, the symbol for greater than looks like that, and the symbol for less than looks like that. And before, we kind of used these relations as like a bigger than, smaller than kind of differentiation. But now that's going to be kind of an issue. For example, if I have, $200 of debt versus having $500 of debt, well, if I have $500 of debt, I'm worse off, right? Even though I have more debt. So negative 500 would be less than negative 200 because I would have less money that way. But my debt would be bigger. So it can be a little bit confusing in terms of thinking about the amount only. So that's why we're going to indicate with this direction as well, going either to the right or to the left. So for this example, to help us out, we're going to graph each pair of numbers on a number line and then decide whether we should use the less than or greater than symbol. So let's start out with -3 and 10. So when we create our number line to do this, I'm really going to be a little sloppy with my number line because really what I want to see is where these numbers are in relationship to each other. So I don't have to plot a whole lot of numbers, just these two. So I'm going to start out with 0 over here. And then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. Here's where -3 lives. And then we'll do 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, here's 10. So I'm not really labeling every single tick mark. I'm labeling a few, but this is, again, just to get a sense of where things are. So I can see that -3 is to the left of 10. So that means -3 is less than 10. This also makes sense, right? Like if you owe me $3, if I owe you $3, I'm in a better position than if I have $10, right? So if I'm in debt, not as good as if I have money. All right, so let's take a look at part B. Part B, we're comparing -3 with -10. So I'm going to draw out my number line again. And this time I only have negatives, so I need a lot of space on the left, not so much on the right. So I'm going to put 0 over here, and I'm going to count down to -10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then let's also plot -3. 1, 2, 3. So now I'm comparing where -3 is in relationship to -10. So -3 is to the right of -10. So that means I've got a greater than. Again, speaking in terms of money, if I owe $3, then I'm in a better situation than if I owe $10. And then for part C, let's see if this matches up with what we know about bigger than or less than amounts, right? We know that $10 is more than $3. So we're going to expect it to look like this. I'm eating the bigger amount here, chomp, chomp, chomp. So let's check that with the number line, just to make sure it all works in harmony. So this time I only have positive numbers, so I can put 0 on the left, so I have space for positives. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when I compare these two, 3 is to the left of 10. So 3 is on the left of 10. Good. Now, if you have trouble with your lefts and rights, another way to think about this is you can think about these symbols kind of like arrows. So in this case, the -3 is pointing to the left of 10. So the 3, right, is on that side of 10. Whereas with -3 and -10, this is saying the -3 is to the other side of the -10. So the -3 is over here. So you can use those symbols kind of like arrows to help you identify which side the number is on. Let's look at 3 more, this time with 8s and 6s. So I'm going to prep my number lines here. And I'm just going to prep them all, and they're all going to go to -8 and +8. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Just barely. All right, there we go. So we're going to compare 8 with -6. So 8 is over here, and -6 is going to be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here. So the 8 is to the right of -6. So it's kind of pointing this way. So it's pointing this way. If I compare 8 and 6, here's 8, 7, 6. All right, so again, the 8 is to the right of the 6. It's pointing in this direction. So there we go. And lastly, let's check -8 with -6. So -8 is over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's -6. So this time the -8 is on the other side. It's pointing in this direction of the -6. So it's pointing that way. Great. Let's look at just one more comment about order relations. So one way that people like to think about negative numbers on a number line is kind of like a mirror image compared to like positive numbers. So for example, we know that 10 is greater than 6. So the negatives are the opposite. -10 is less than -6. Let's see why this happens if I draw out a number line. So here's 0. Here's like where the mirror is placed. As I go this way, 6 is about here, and 10 is about here. And as I go in the left, -6 is here, and -10 is about here. So if I'm comparing 10 with 6, right? So here, 10 is to the right of 6, or 10 is bigger than 6. So 10 is bigger than 6. But if I compare the negatives, that relationship flips. Now the -10 sort of has been reflected over here, so the -10 is smaller than the -6. So the order relation sign for negative numbers is the opposite of what it is for positives. So if you wanted to compare -10 and -50, since you know 10 is less than 50, you could flip that sign for two negatives. -10 is greater than -50. So that's another way that you can think about order relations with signed numbers. All right, so here are a few examples for you to try out. Graph each pair of numbers on a number line, and then use that number line to help you identify whether the first number is less than or greater than the other one. In the next video, we're going to continue using number lines to help us as we try to now figure out what would it mean to add negatives and negatives and positives together. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.